Hi guys, I'm Tiffani. Welcome to the Catbird Seat. Come on in. That's our little catbird guy over here. Everyone look natural. This is the team, or most of them. We kind of just come in and prep on Tuesdays. No service today. Typically just Wednesday through Saturday unless we have a buyout or something. So today's a day to get ahead. Catbird Seat is like organized chaos. We definitely come into the restaurant hoping we know what our day is going to look like, but as deliveries kind of roll in, there's always some last minute emergency or some last minute stop that Andy and I have to make before work. Or let's say we're shorted something and we need to find another vendor. We've only got 24 hours to adjust before we go into service. Michelin-Star indefinitely makes our restaurant very, very busy. We generally see like 45 guests a night, and everybody has access to the chefs throughout the evening. And so we're the ones dropping all of the food, preparing the food, develop communication with the guests so they feel comfortable and at ease and can ask us about each of the dishes. Generally, we burp the babies when we first come in, so we've got a lot of active ferments here at Catbird Seat, and so we'll get a lot of them going over the course of the weekend, some of our shorter ferments, and so we definitely want to make sure that we burp them when they come in so no jars explode and there's no accidents or anything like that. Let's walk around and see what the rest of the team is doing.
I'm starting the day putting some parsnips through a meat grinder. We like the texture a little bit better this way. This is part of our omelet dish on the menu. Force them through, cook them in a bit of olive oil, black truffle mushrooms afterwards. That'll be stuffed into the omelet. I like prep. I like prep a lot. I don't know if I like it better than service, but it's a totally different part of the day for us. Open concept cooking on kind of a stage here was a lot for me to get used to. Quite literally being in front of all these people, having them watch and listen to everything that we do. But after doing it for over a year now, it's become kind of second nature. It's like we're putting on a show every day, so just have to live up to it.
So what we do over here is a lot of straight ember cooking. What I like to do is I build my embers, I build this fire, and from there I take this pan. I really like to put it over my embers. From here, once I feel like the pan has gotten some heat, I just start adding my mushrooms to it. These mushrooms already are seasoned with salt and tossed in some olive oil. Just gently control the heat from here, which this pan really helps me with because it only has these perforations, so it only lets some good heat get in there, utilizing those embers. And as one of my sides is cooked, I'll bring in some tare that we make with some black apples over here. Dab it over. This pan is very essential, very crucial to this step. It makes it very synonymous and the flow very easy of my work when I'm doing it for service. Yeah, as you can see, really good caramelization, just utilizing the pan. If you see this color right here, mainly comes through that heat that penetrates through those perforations. All right. I guess I talk mainly about the pan.
So today I am working with Siobhan. We're trying to create a new drink, and this is our first time trying to like piece it all together. I made a magnolia oolong tea with citrus. I haven't seasoned it at all because I didn't know what the citrus was going to taste like.
I see myself just placing all of this on the bottom.
Is that the peel?
Yes, a little bit of peel, and then I wanted to zest this lemon on top.
That's cool. As far as other beverages goes, especially for pairings, it is very much the kitchen telling me what they are working on, what they're interested in, the flavors, what the season is, and then I try and take those elements and kind of put it into a drink form, whether or not it's similar flavors or contrasting flavors. I really love contrasting pairings because it kind of makes your brain and your palate go from one thing to another.
Today we're gonna prepare an antelope dish for you. It's kind of all wild game everything. It's been sitting on cure for about an hour, so we're gonna give it a nice rinse, dry it off, nice hard sear, and then we're gonna cook this low and slow, submerged in beef fat on our induction burner so we can really control the temperature. Cook this at 130 degrees, gets it nice and tender. We're gonna get our pan nice and ripping hot. I like to wait till it smokes and then turn it down just to ensure that everything that's coming into contact with this pan gets even coloring. I will say carbon heats really evenly, so I like to use it for searing whenever possible. Sometimes people hoard them on their stations because everybody likes working with them so much. I was lucky enough to get one today. And in this particular technique, we're not looking to cook the meat all the way through. We're just looking for a nice hard sear for texture, and then we're gonna cook it submerged in the beef fat. That'll introduce a lot of moisture to this really tough piece of meat. We have a little bit of dry aged beef fat, slowly coming up to temp right now. It's at a steady 130 degrees. Now we're gonna toss our antelope in there for a nice mid-rare cook. I like cast iron because you get a lot more of an even sear. It retains the temperature a lot longer. We're really relying on that piece of cookware to retain its temperature all throughout service. I really like the predictability of running a tasting menu. There's very little waste involved, and so it helps us to be a more sustainable business. Having quality cookware is really important. We are guest-facing, so we want everything that we're working with to look amazing as well as be super reliable. We want to make sure that the first guest that sits down gets the same quality of food as the last guest that sits down.